You're listening to the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brenna Hicks, the Kid Counselor. This is the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast where I give you insight, awareness, and enlightenment about your parenting and your relationship with your kids. In today's episode, I am answering a question from Whitney, and this is about her son saying pretty negative, self-defeating statements and how to handle it. And this is something that we see a lot at our practice, definitely something that many kids commonly do. So I'm glad that you emailed Whitney. Thank you for that. And we'll read parts of the email and dive in together. We have been using child-centered play therapy parenting with our 3 boys, 6, 4, and 2. And our 6-year-old was in play therapy for about 6 months with major improvements in managing his emotions. Let me pause there. Whitney, I'm so glad that you were able to find a child-centered play therapist. I'm so happy to hear that you saw the progress you were hoping for. And play therapy really does support kids in a special way. So I'm really encouraged by that. Continuing, lately we've noticed our oldest has been getting down on himself, saying negative things about himself and gently hitting himself when he makes a mistake. For example, he lost a toy he loved, we were looking for it, and he kept saying, "I'm so stupid, I'm bad, why did I do that?" And then hitting himself on the shoulder, and he slapped himself on the face. I told him, "You're disappointed you lost your toy, but you are not for hitting." What do we do? I try to encourage him all the time. And then in parentheses, also, I would love more suggestions on encouragement because I feel like we use the phrases, "You tried so hard, you didn't give up, and you're so proud of yourself" over and over. But I'd love more ideas. I'll circle back to that, Whitney. I want him to have a high self-esteem, and it breaks our hearts to see him like this. Okay, so let's dive into what's going on, why, and then how we can adjust in our interactions. So first and foremost, if a child has low self-esteem, low frustration tolerance, and high anxiety, that is typically the trifecta that creates phrases like this in kids. And here's what's going on. When you don't have a strong self-concept, when you don't handle things in a regulated way, and when everything upsets you because of your consistent anxiety levels, you end up internalizing things as you are bad, you are wrong, you are a failure, rather than, "Oh, I lost this toy. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I made a choice that I wish I wouldn't have." So essentially, the message that gets internalized is different than what it should be, but it's because of those 3 undercurrent issues. So if we can recognize that that is at the root, we then understand that it's just maladaptive coping. So it's not an issue independently, Whitney. It's not that he is saying negative things and that's the issue. The negative things are just a representation of what's going on for him internally. So we have to understand what's going on first. And secondly, this is actually very normal. When kids do not feel that they can trust themselves, when they do not value and accept themselves, they will naturally feel like they should punish themselves. Now, let's kind of unpack that for a second. Often, kids will punish themselves because they feel like they deserve it. They're so hard on themselves that I know that I screwed up, so I'm going to punish myself. They think that that's retribution, even though it's not. It doesn't solve or fix anything. But again, kids aren't rational. So we know, I mean, your son is 6, Whitney, so he's so far away from rational thought and abstract reasoning. He's got a very long way to go, more than twice what he is now. So it's just a natural byproduct of I screwed up and I should be punished. So they will sometimes hit themselves, smack themselves, pinch themselves, bite themselves, things like that. Also common behavior. We also recognize that that behavior is sometimes rooted in, well, if I punish myself first, then no one else will. So sometimes it's avoidant and fear-based. If I punish myself, maybe I won't get in trouble by someone who could actually get me in trouble. Teacher, parent, caregiver, authority figure, whomever. So that's another potential cause. Keep in mind that when children say things and do things, they don't have an emotional context for it. It is just their way of showing other people in the world how badly they feel. That's all that it boils down to. So when kids say, I hate myself, I hate my life, I wish I was never born, those are phrases that are really alarming. When kids hit themselves, smack themselves, bite themselves, say, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, I'm an idiot, those are also alarming, but they don't have the emotional context that we do for those things. They're basically saying, I hate this feeling and I don't know what to do about it. And I've done other podcasts on when kids say crazy, alarming things. So if that resonates with you, please go back and search for that episode. The point is, when he's saying and doing these things, it's not really what it seems. That's just representation of, I hate this, I want to escape this, and I'm trying to solve the problem. And it's maladaptive and it's dysregulated, but that's what it's rooted in. It's an intent to fix it. So now that we understand what's likely causing it and why, now we can address how we're going to respond. We obviously are going to set limits on self-harm. And it sounds like you already did. You're disappointed you lost your toy, but you're not for hitting. I think that it would be more important to say a broader limit. So you're never for hurting. I think that would be a little bit more impactful. You are never for hurting. And if you want to add the why in, it would be because you're special. Or for my son, I used to say, I made you. So I would say, you're not for hurting, I made you. And there are all kinds of reasons why a child isn't for hurting. You can come up with the one that seems to make the most sense for you and your family. But you want to be clear, there's a why. It's not a limit arbitrarily. There's a why. You have inherent worth. You have inherent value. And you should never do anything that's going to injure yourself. So you're disappointed that you lost the toy, but you're never for hurting. And then throw a why in. Here's the thing. He's going to need alternatives. This is where kids get stuck. This is why the limit setting process offers alternatives. Because if we set a limit and then the child doesn't know what they can do instead, they don't know to do anything else. They're not rational, right? They're not cognitive. They're not going to think their way out of this. So you say you're never for hitting, you're never for hurting, whatever. And then they're like, well, great. And then they don't know what else to do. So they go back to hitting or hurting themselves. We always have to provide alternatives. So you can choose to hit the pillow, or you can choose to hit the couch. Which do you choose? Or you can choose to tell me about how mad you are, or you can choose to talk to me about how sad you are. There are all kinds of options. What is it that he needs to release that feeling? He feels guilty, likely. He feels ashamed. He feels maybe embarrassed. There's all kinds of things, and those are all vulnerable emotions. No one wants to feel vulnerable. We try to mask it at all costs, unless we have high emotional IQ. So we see even in adults, we mask vulnerability. This is what he's doing. He feels all of these things very deeply. I would argue, Whitney, he's probably a highly sensitive child. So I think his feelings are bigger than they are for other kids. So when he feels ashamed, he feels really ashamed. If he feels embarrassed, it's overwhelmingly embarrassing. We have to recognize sensitive kids are going to feel things deeply. And therefore, he needs an outlet. So what does he really need that's going to help him feel better about the fact that the toy is misplaced? Maybe he needs to hit something. Maybe he needs to talk about something. Maybe he needs to throw something as hard and as fast as he can. Maybe he needs to go run. There are all kinds of things that you can offer based on your child's personality and what's going to make the most sense as an outlet for that original need. What he's trying to communicate is, I'm really, really upset about this. That's the goal, is give him alternatives that meet the original need. I feel really ashamed. I feel really guilty. I feel really embarrassed. I feel like I'm a failure. Whatever it is, he needs a way to get that out. That does not include hitting himself, smacking himself, those kinds of things. So you want to consistently make clear he has alternatives. And getting back to we try to encourage him. Yes, continue esteem building and encouragement phrases. And in the show notes, I will post a link to more than 100 encouragement phrases for all of you to have access to. And that will be an arsenal of encouragement phrases that you can use. I categorize them in situationally specific scenarios. So when you're when he's with friends, these are ones you would use. When you're at home, these are ones that you would use. So you're going to have to kind of read through them, but it'll at least give you all kinds of options so that you're not just defaulting to those 3 that you shared, Whitney. Continue to provide self-esteem building phrases, encouragement phrases, and over time, anxiety reduces, self-esteem increases, and you have a child that's able to better handle emotions and better regulate. But it's a work in progress. He's young. He's 6. He's emotional. He's irrational. And he's going to show you behaviorally what's going on. So this is a be patient process, and this is stick to the limits and the encouragement and esteem building, and you will see a difference. So Whitney, thank you so much for the email. I hope that that's helpful for all of you. If y'all would like me to answer a question of yours, please email me, brenna@thekidcounselor.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you would just like to email me and say hello, I would love to chat with you as well. And by the way, I do get all of my emails and answer all of them. So many people think I must have someone that filters them or vets them or whatever. I get every single one. I respond to every single one. Sometimes it takes me a bit because I do get a lot, but I promise I will respond. And if you would like to say hello or introduce yourself or ask a question, I'd be happy to hear from you. Brenna@thekidcounselor.com. I appreciate y'all. Have a great week. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks. For more episodes and to subscribe to our newsletter, please go to www.playtherapyparenting.com.